Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the English News Edition brought to you live from RTD channel. The headlines for tonight are: the head of state, Ismail Magili, continued the working meetings started with the ministers and their principal collaborators. And on the international scene, Erdogan calls Netanyahu a terrorist in spat over Gaza dates. Let's go to the details now. The head of state, Ismail Magili, continued today in the afternoon at the presidential palace the working meeting with the high national administrations. Today there was talk of the employment and integration of young Djiboutian. The holding of this meeting reflects the government's concern to find solutions to youth unemployment and to adapt the training offerings of the education system to the needs as well as requirements of the local labor market. With the long term, the professional integration of young job seekers, which remains a priority due to the head of state, during an address given at the beginning of the working session he had today with all the ministers and senior administrative officials working together on the issue of youth employment and their professional insertion. The head of state demanded the principle of greater cooperation and cross-departmental cross-cutting formation whose success requires co-management. Each one of you must make sure you work better with your partners, said the head of state, Ismail Magili. We need to think more about how to meet and respond in order to materialize the dreams and ambitions of the young who trust us, he continued, the head of state. Have taken part at this meeting the Minister of Higher Education, the Minister of National Education, the Minister of Women and Family, the State Secretary for Social Affairs, as well as the State Secretary for Youth and Sport. On the headlines of this meeting, the head of state, Ismail Magili, during his speech, has highlighted that the question related to the youth and created jobs were at the heart of his government, how youth will be able to take the opportunities in terms of job, in employment, and in their turn will give back to their country. More details with the President.
Dans notre série de mises au point, de réflexion, de communication entre nous pour le développement économique de notre pays, nous allons aujourd'hui parler de l'emploi.
In our series of meetings and reflections for the economic development of our country, we will talk about today employment. The ministerial departments that are here today are those who deal directly or indirectly with employment. We will see those who take care of the vision, those who are affected by the inequality of employment and training, those who are in charge of the mobilization of resources, employees of ministers who have the responsibility that did not give themselves entirely to this job have been concerned about the responsibilities by the tragedy that constitutes unemployment. After so many years of training, so many years of studies, for a Djiboutian youth being jobless is something unacceptable. We have to fix it. We have to look at what we have done so far, what we need to add or to move to other directions in order to tackle or target in the best way so that the Djiboutian youth can give to their country the best of themselves.
Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed has used the argument to highlight the variety of approaches and programs that can promote the employability of young unemployed Djiboutians. Led him to highlight the urgency to tangible results in order to chart the unemployment curve of the under 35s in a near future. The Minister of Labour, Hassan Idriss Samriye, after the meeting, exposed with more details the purpose of this working meeting. He said the scope of this meeting, its timely appearance, reflects the government's concern to find solutions to youth unemployment and to adapt the training offerings of the education system to the needs as well as requirement of the local labour market. With the long term, the professional integration of young job seekers, he said, which remains a priority due to the head of state. And still with the national news, under the presidency of Mohamed Ali Mohammed, the first conference of presidents of the 80th legislature was held today in the premises of the parliament. At this conference, the government was represented by Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed and the Minister of Defense in charge of relation with the Parliament, Ali Hassan Bahdoun. Also present at this meeting, the two Vice Presidents of the National Representation, Emily Absiyi Wais. The Conference of Presidents focused first of all on the transmission to the appropriate and standing committee of bills in emergency procedures, of which there are four, namely Bill number 2, amending and supplementing Law number 179 of the ODP fee, tablet in Parliament on March 29. Bill number 3 on the Civil Code, tablet in Parliament on March 29, 2018. Bill number 4 on the Civil Procedures Code, tablet in Parliament on March 29, 2018. Bill number 5, amending the General Tax Code, tablet in Parliament on March 29. Also on the agenda were 6 pending bills referred to the relevant committees. It is draft law number 218, adopting the financial accounts of the National Printing Office of Djibouti for the 2015 financial year, tablet in Parliament on January 3, 2018. Bill number 220, approving and ratifying the statutes of Africa 50 Fund, tablet in Parliament on January 21, 2018. And Bill number 221, amending and supplementing Law number 133 of January 28, 2018 on the Labour Code, tablet in Parliament on February 19. Bill number 222 on the Code of Ethics of Public Officials, tablet in Parliament on 19 January. And Bill number 6, amending and supplementing Law number 177 on October 10, 1991 on the Organization of Land Ownership, tablet in Parliament on March 29. And Bill number 1, amending and supplementing the Commercial Code, tablet in Parliament on March 29. And finally, the conference discussed the date of the public session dedicated to the debate. Another news now, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, received this morning in his office children from Lycée d'État de Djibouti, winners of the contest Peace Review organized by the French School of Djibouti as well as MINFOP. The Minister held to receive and congratulate those students in the second class victoriously against competitors from another high school. Also, Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud pointed out in his speech to the children and as well the leaders of their school that if these children were so brilliant during this contest, it is because they are well supervised and encouraged by their teachers and high school officials. He also urged Djibouti, Lycée d'État and all other institutions to do more for the development of their students. School sport now. The school sporting season has started in the collective test. 8 teams from all the country, schools as well high school, were friendly met on Friday afternoon in the final football phase. These sports activities have been supervised by the Director of Public Education, Mrs. Sulula Ali Elabi, accompanied by the Head of Services of the Sport and Culture Committee, Mohammed Omar Ali, and the teachers as well trainers, educational advisors as well ahead of schools. The third handball tournament final was taken to the gymnasium of the Lycée d'État Saturday afternoon between the finalists of the high school of the capital. The results have been at the high of the matches and benefits that the different teams delivered. The Minister of the Budget held today an information meeting at the Chamber of Commerce of Djibouti. This meeting focused on laws and decrees on improving the business climate, the tax code, land ownership, as well all that is related to promoting youth employment. In this regard, the head of state Ismail Margili chaired an important meeting on March 26, attended by Prime Minister, 7 ministers, as well as 25 senior officials. At this meeting today, the Budget Minister Bodi Ahmed Roble presented the various taxes on the improvement of the business climate, such as bills reforming on the one hand the general code taxes and clarifying on the other hand the accession of the land ownership, especially the decree on the organization and function of the National Committee of Tax Reconciliation, which was the subject of a long debate with the economic operators. The meeting was attended by the Budget Ministry team, the Secretary General Simon Maibrotou, the tax advisor Abdel Fattah Moussaré, the Director General of the Taxes Saeed Gili, as well. The President of the Chamber of Commerce, Yusuf Moussa Dawale, was on his side, surrounded by members of the office of the Chamber of Commerce, as well as many merchants of the place. The two parties were able to discuss with the Minister and his deputies at length on the new tax provision resulting from the reform related to the improvement of the business climate. The President of the Chamber of Commerce of Djibouti warmly thanked the Minister of the Budget for organizing this information and awareness meeting on the tax of the government improving the business climate. In an interview he granted us, the Budget Minister Bodi Ahmed Roble has first of all thanked all of the actors who participate at this meeting, focus on laws and decrees on improving the business climate, the tax code, land ownership, and all that is related for promoting youth employment. The focus, he said, were laws and decrees on improving business climate, the tax code, land ownership, and all related to promote youth employment. The Minister then explained that the discussion were very enriched and the operators have made a lot of remarks. He added that the main objective referred to these taxes is the creation of jobs. The President of Port as well Free Zones Authority visits Abidjan, where was held the 6th edition of Economic Forum Africa CEO. Some 1,200 participants take part in this Economic Forum. This meeting brings together different actors in finance, insurance, industry as well, but also political figures. These distinguished guests discuss, among other things, action plans aimed at transforming major companies on the continent. The objective of the forum is to bring out a new generation of companies and rise to the level of global competition. The 6th edition of Africa CEO is aimed at convincing donors and other investors to join the economic recovery program of several countries, including Zimbabwe. Taking the floor at the 6th edition of the Economic Forum Africa CEO, the President of Port and Free Zones Authority stressed that the African continent had enormous wealth and potential. He emphasized that trade between African countries was a foundation for a future African growth. According to the President of Port and Free Zones Authority, it is important to put this forward for economic prosperity in Africa.
It's very important to build infrastructure in the continent of Africa. You know, Africa economy is doing well. Out of the 15 fast-growing economy in the world, 8 are from the continent. But to support that, we need infrastructure through the continent. And when we are saying we need infrastructure through the continent, you know, Africa is on the middle of the planet, the continent, between Americas, Europe and Asia. Any infrastructure built in Africa is going to serve the rest of the world, for the trade of the world. So Africa can be used as a land bridge between the Indian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. So it's very, very important. And we should not the inter-Africa business is what is driving the growth in Africa. It's not the raw materials as we used to in the past. It's not oil, it's not gas, it's inter-Africa trade, which is driving the growth of the continent. So I think it's very, very important. We have to invest in the infrastructure, but we should not forget there is what we call physical barriers and non-physical barriers. We are talking about infrastructure, roads, railways through the continent is a must. You know, the United States and Canada, they linked the Pacific to the Atlantic 120 years ago. African continent today is the only continent to transport goods from one coast, east to west. You have to go around the continent. You cannot cross. So it's very, very important to build this infrastructure, to bridge the gaps, but also we should not forget the non-physical barriers, tariffs, customs, bureaucracy. That's also delaying a lot. Thank you.
Where exactly is the problem? We've heard something about the preparatory stages and so forth, but perhaps someone can pinpoint for us, where exactly is the problem?
Allez-y, puis je interviendrai. Okay, I think the problem is peace and stability. In Djibouti, I think we have invested a lot the last 5 years. We built 5 ports. We co-invested with Ethiopia, the railway, Djibouti, Addis Ababa, 4.2 billion. By now, we're supposed to reach Juba, South Sudan. But because of the peace and stability, it's not possible. So, shall we wait the peace to come to develop the infrastructure? Or shall we force the peace? The economy will bring the peace. We believe on that one. So we should not stop. We should continue. But the barrier, what is blocking the development of the infrastructure in Africa is countries we have no stability.
Let's come back to the country's news now. The town hall of Djibouti has carried out this afternoon a vehicle picking operation parked in the public road illegally in the framework of the operation of a beautification of the capital undertaken jointly with the Ministry of the Interior of cleans the entire capital to remove the public roads, the wakes obstructing the city. Warning as well awareness have been carried out by those who have not taken into account the fine penalty and the worst denial of these concern. The government is obliged to put a definitive end to this unworthy situation of the capital. The technicians of the National Office of Water as well as Sanitation of Djibouti, known as ONIAD, have had to intervene this morning to urgently replace a water pipe of the supply network which was damaged at the level of Duda. This incident, which resulted in a failure of the power supply of the water delivered since the dwelling of the localities Atar, Demerjok as well Duda, and which supplies the capital. The rehabilitation and construction of works that the area knows, including the development of the Duda road executed by a private company, led a breakage of water pipe diameter 350 during earthworks. Let's bear in mind, in less than 1 month, 2 water pipes in summer damaged by earthworks executed by private companies. To put it into its breakage of the water pipes, the ONIAD dispatches a bailiff to the site to make the observation of the water supply network which was damaged. Due to this repair work of the main water collector of Duda, Demerjok, Atar as well, Ali'un boreholes of the Hurricane water supply for the capital except Balbala will be disturbed during the day of today, during the day of April 1st to 2. The management of ONIAD apologized to its subscribers for this inconvenience. The ADAS Association has taken the initiative to organize a school competition for the 5th year for the primary as well 9 grades intended for students enrolled in the support course initiated by the association for 3 years now in their headquarters. And this competition organized by the Tajura Young Association is part of an educational perspective which aims not only to prepare the student 9 grades in relation to the tests of BEF Blanc, but also and especially to access their level on all subjects to remedy earlier. Another goal of such an initiative is to create a climate of competition among the students and to motivate them further, because it will soon be crowned with the rewards for the winners. The educational as well academic question is the focus of this young and a dynamic association that is constantly contributing to the development as well academic success of the student with learning difficulties. As part of the fight against illegal immigration, the gendarme of the mobile group station at the Lac Assal post again conducted search operation yesterday in the Gala Maba sector. During this operation, the gendarme have questioned 125 clandestine migrants, including 28 women, all of them from Ethiopia and wishing to travel in the countries of the Gulf. These migrants receive humanitarian as well assistance in water and food from the gendarmerie. At the end, they were renewed today on the border of Galilee with the raw means of the gendarmerie. On the international scene now, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Sunday today lashed out at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in an escalating war of words between the two over the killing of 16 Palestinians in Gaza. Erdogan called Netanyahu a terrorist after the Israeli Prime Minister said he will not be reflected to on morality from a country that has been bombing civilians indiscriminately. The violence broke out on Friday after tens of thousands of people in the Gaza Street march. I strongly condemn the Israeli government of its inhuman attack, Erdogan said during a speech in Istanbul. That's it for the news. Thanks for being with us on RTD channel.